JBN, we keep you informed. This jockey shot dead during dispute with licensed firearm holder. A licensed firearm holder fatally shot a 23-year-old disc jockey during a reported violent confrontation between the two in St. James on Thursday. The deceased man has been identified as Tushane Peterkin of Content District in Adelphi, St. James. During the fuss, Peter King is said to have attempted to chop the firearm holder. Reports are that an argument developed between the two men sometime after 8 p.m. while they were at a bar in Adelphi. The exchange is said to have escalated to the point where Peter King allegedly grabbed hold of a machete and swung it in the direction of the man who reportedly pulled his firearm and shot Peter King in the upper body. The police were alerted to the incident, and on their arrival, the wounded man was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. The licensed firearm holder was questioned by the police. Further investigations are being conducted by the police. Police seized 3 firearms and ammo in 3 parishes. The police is reporting the seizure of 3 additional firearms and several rounds of ammunition in Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, and St. Mary divisions over a 24-hour period. The first seizure was about 7 a.m. on Gully Road in Highgate, St. Mary. A police team on operation carried out a search of the area and found a .38 revolver and 4.38 cartridges, the police said. Hours later in Westmoreland, lawmen conducted a search in the Little Bay area of Brighton about 9:40 p.m., resulting in the seizure of a 9mm pistol along with 14 9mm rounds. One man was arrested in connection with the seizure, the police said. Then about 10:35 p.m. in St. Elizabeth, officers were on patrol when 2 men, upon the approach of the police, discarded an object and rode off on a motorcycle. The object was retrieved and discovered to be a .38 Taurus revolver with 6 9mm cartridges. The police earlier reported the seizure of 5 firearms at the start of the weekend. These latest seizures bring the tally to 8 firearms seized so far this weekend, the police said. Businessman Samir Yunus has died. Prominent businessman and philanthropist Samir Yunus is dead. Yunus, who received the Order of Jamaica in 2013, passed away earlier yesterday after a fight with illness and is being hailed by opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips as an accomplished businessman. He was also a man who dedicated his life to public service to advance the development of Jamaica, especially in relation to the capital city, Phillips said. Yunus served as president of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce from 1986 to 1991 and as president of the Jamaica Manufacturers Association from 1996 to 2000. Phillips noted that Yunus lived his beliefs and that Jamaica benefited from his efforts. He further stated that Yunus's life was above all else dedicated to nation building and extended condolences to his family, friends, and colleagues on behalf of the People's National Party. Tivoli Gardens man charged in stabbing death. A 29-year-old man, Ricardo Hughes, otherwise called Chucky, of Tivoli Gardens, was charged for murder after he was accused of stabbing a man with an ice pick during an argument in the community on August 23. Dead is 26-year-old Follick Rowe, also for Tivoli Gardens address. According to the Constabulary's Corporate Communications Unit, an argument developed about 4:40 p.m. between Rowe and Hughes, which reportedly escalated into a fight. During the altercation, Hughes allegedly used an ice pick to stab Rowe in the chest. Rowe was rushed to the Kingston Public Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Following investigations, Hughes was charged on Thursday, August 28. JDF soldier drowns in swimming pool in Mandeville. A Jamaica Defense Force, a JDF soldier, is suspected to have drowned in a swimming pool at Ingleside Wellness and Recreational Center in Mandeville on Saturday afternoon. Police report that shortly after midday, 19-year-old Private Kemoy Ralston Lee Williams went swimming at the facility. Sometime after, when he was not seen, an employee checked and saw his body submerged in the swimming pool. The police and the firefighters were notified, and the soldier's body was recovered from the water. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. Further investigations are being conducted by the police and the JDF. Bus taxi strike on across the country. There is a noticeable absence of public transport operators on many routes across the island. Reports from various sources on the ground indicate that at the start of the new school year, Many public transport operators have withdrawn their services over the absence of a fare increase, which has long been requested of the authorities. Edgerton Newman, president of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services (TODSS), an organization that says it represents more than 1,000 taxi and bus operators, said based on information he has received, this strike extends island-wide. For the past 7 years, we have been selling or providing our service for the same price, while everything we buy to provide that service goes up at least twice per month or once per week, said Newman, who argued that the situation had reached a state where taxi and bus operators feel it should not continue. Newman said through the strike, taxi and bus operators are seeking to send another message to the regulators and policymakers, reminding them of our involvement in the country's sustainable development and that we ought to be heard. At the same time, the Jamaica Urban Transit Company JUTC has said it has started to roll out more than 400 buses for the start of the new school year. The assurance was given by Sasa Toms, the communications manager for the state-owned bus company. Toms said the JUTC took note of the possible strike by public transport operators and stood ready to transport commuters who may be left stranded if the privately operated public passenger vehicle PPV operators made good on their threat to withdraw their service as they press their demand for a fare increase. We will play our part to ensure that we move commuters to their destinations safely, said Toms. Legal Aid Clinic appeals to persons with mentally ill relatives in prison to come forward. The Legal Aid Clinic, LAC, is urging persons with mentally ill relatives who are imprisoned to contact the organization, which has provided legal representation for 107 mentally ill persons within the last year. Executive Director of the LAC, Hugh Faulkner, says it is unable to represent mentally ill prisoners without a family member coming forward to receive these individuals. We are urging persons who have family members who are mentally ill in custody and have not been going to court to contact us once they are willing to undertake supervision and care of the persons, Faulkner said. In January, the LAC provided representation to Leslie Spaulding, a mentally ill individual who had been in custody for 23 years. Spaulding's case was resolved when his sister came forward, and the LAC was able to make the requisite application to the court. Faulkner stated that the LAC also provides its clients with expert services such as DNA testing to aid their case. In two of the cases concerning the mentally ill, we paid private psychiatrists to do the evaluation for the courts so that persons were not delayed in the system, he shared. Faulkner said justice should be accessible to all members of society, irrespective of their socioeconomic background or mental health. Mechanical problem at Clarendon facility forces water lock-off until Friday. The National Water Commission says that a mechanical breakdown has forced the suspension of operations at the Anbury water supply facility situated in Clarendon. The NWC in a report Sunday morning said that based on the extent of the damage, communities served by the system will experience a disruption in their piped water supply until Friday, September 6, when regular operations are projected to be restored at the plant. Areas affected by the lock-off are Longsville Park Phase 3 and the surrounding communities. The NWC noted that arrangements are now being put in place to provide trucked water supply on a scheduled basis to the affected areas. Bunting breaching advertising rules in presidential race, 1PMP charges. Peter Phillips, 1PMP team from the Region 3, is calling the People's National Party's PMP Election Monitoring Committee to denounce Peter Bunting's Rise United advertising campaign, which they say is in conflict with the agreed rules of the presidential election. According to the team, 1PMP and Rise United signed an agreement setting out the governing rules of engagement for the election, including a provision that prohibits public advertising by either campaign, with a 1PMP campaign as adhered to. 1PMP is arguing that the rule has, however, been breached by Rise United when it mounted billboard advertisements along the highway near the Linstead Toll Plaza and at Unity Valley near the St. Anne border with St. Catherine. They have now added insult to injury with an all-media campaign encompassing TV, radio, print, and online advertisements in flagrant disregard of the agreed rules, 1PMP said in a statement on Saturday. The One Region 3 support organization deems it contemptuous and disrespectful of the authority of the party and monitoring committee by Rise United to unashamedly breach these rules, the group charged. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.